Welcome back to the show. Wow. Welcome back. Our guest today is a paranormal radio and TV host who's investigated strange and supernatural encounters all over the country for more than 20 years. And it's shocking because he's only 30. And now he's... That was for you, Dave. And now he's written them down in a new book called Theater of the Mind, Tales from the Darkness. Audience, give it up for our friend Dave Schrader. Hi, buddy.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Good.
God, you're fancy now. I have to refer to you as author Dave Schrader.
Well,
what?
We can add it to my title. I'm trying to build up so it's now Golden Telly Award-winning international TV sensation and author and friend of Morgan Fairchild, Dave Schrader.
Dave Schrader, that's right. That's it.
Hard to get all that on a business card, yeah.
Oh, thank you, buddy. Why? Why? No, I just mean, let me start with a simple one. Why a book? What made you want to do it? Are you sick of it? Are you sick of people coming up to you at Aldi and asking you the ghost stories?
No, actually, I love sharing them. And the thing is, I'd taken stories people have given me over the last 18 years of doing paranormal radio shows, and I've shared them on my programs. And we did this thing called Theater of the Mind, where I would take your story, I would flesh it out a little bit with sound effects and music, and then we would record them kind of in a dramatic Theater of the Mind style. And then I just had them languishing in a drawer, and I thought, well, it's really a shame, because the one thing I learned doing the radio show and TV show for so long is how connected people feel when they hear other people's stories. And when they get to know, maybe I'm not so alone. I've had experiences like this, and I thought I was insane, but to know other people are having these same experiences helps to bridge that gap and make everybody feel a little better. So instead of just letting the stories sit, I brought them back out, and I've got a couple of my own personal stories, one about a haunted doll. I don't know if you're familiar, but I deal with haunted dolls from time to time.
Yeah, Dave, we are aware of that fact here in the studio. If you missed that episode, Dave brought not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 haunted dolls on this very couch. And during the segment, audience, the one of the damn things turned around and looked at me.
Can you blame it?
I know, whatever. And then we sent them home with photographer Eric, and their marriage has never been the same since. Tanya, his wife, is still not speaking to me over that one. But no, is it all scary stories?
No, actually, there's a wide variety. I didn't want it to just be a book of ghost stories or monster stories, so I kind of mixed it up. There's time slip phenomena, there's near-death experiences, there are ghostly experiences, there are the black-eyed kids, the bloody bones man. So a lot of these sound terrifying, but it's more kind of this, yeah, right, it sounds edgier, but some of the stories have just got a really nice Twilight Zone feel to them. And then some are creepy, so I want to get into your brain at night and have you thinking about that just before you fall asleep.
I want to ask you about a couple specific stories, but more broadly, though, I know that you believe, do you believe in all of these categories? Do you believe in ghosts, aliens, and UFOs?
Yes.
You believe in all those. Okay. What do you think in your experience, I just thought about this. What do you think, like our audience here, what do you think it's easier for a mortal, not you, a mere mortal to believe in? The existence of ghosts or the existence of aliens and UFOs?
I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's mutually kind of inclusive, because we as a people know that there's just too much out there. The universe is ever expanding, and to believe that there is only life on one little bead in this massive sea is ridiculous. I think most people would say, I believe that. Are they coming to visit us? That's another story. But I've seen things I can't explain flying in the skies over Trout Lake, Washington. I've had experiences with spirits at many different locations around the world. And I think maybe the ghosts are a little bit easier for people to lean into because they've had that moment where they feel connected to somebody they've lost after they've passed on.
What did you see at Trout Lake?
I went out, I was listening to a late night radio show, Coast to Coast AM, that eventually I'd get to host for 5 years. And this gentleman, James Gilliland, was talking about how if you came out on a clear night, you had a 90 to 95% chance of seeing things flying over his property. So being an investigator and a host, I'm like, I'm going. I showed up unannounced, Had 3 days there, and on the third night, after watching the skies and seeing things move that could be satellites, I'm not sure, but they'd move and then bank out at crazy speeds and then stop and then go in a totally different direction. I don't think that's how satellites work. But I'm not a man of science.
Yeah.
I'm a man of wonder, right? So I don't know what's going on. The last night, as I'm staring out at this kind of dormant volcano that is the hotbed, I went out in the field and turned around and watched the other direction. And from behind this bank of long, tall pine trees, this thing came fluttering out. It looked like a blue glowing stingray, and it kind of swam through the sky. And it was so weird and surreal. I thought he was projecting something on a screen between those trees to try to confound people. So I went running towards it, and I'm throwing rocks between the trees, waiting to hear that, and it wasn't. And I go back to James Gilliland, and he goes, "What'd you see?" And I said, "It looked like a glowing blue stingray." And he goes, "Oh yeah, those are half biological craft. That's how they get in between dimensions." And he was just so matter of fact about it. And I had no better explanation, but it was just like,
how quickly
what?
did you get back on the plane?
It was the next day I went back. But what is weird is that night, I get into my room. I always lock my door and put the chain on and the little latch and everything. And I got into bed, and I woke up to the sound of something falling in my room. And I sat up, and there was a chair knocked over, and I heard the door shut. And I'm like, what? And I got up thinking, am I just dreaming? And I went, and the little chain was still swinging on the door. So I don't know if the observer became the observed for that night, and they came to look at me since I'd spent the last 3 nights looking at them. I'm sure they were much more disappointed than I was.
Well, this kind of answers I was going to ask, and it seems like I'm just poking fun or being goofy. I'm really not. Do you think they're already here? Like, do you think, like maybe the woman in row 2, do you think she's, somebody in our audience today, they're in a human suit and they're spying on us?
I don't think just one of them is an alien sitting over there. I'm pretty sure half of your audience is from another planet.
They're fun, so I hope so.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
But all kidding aside, do you think they've been here?
I do. As a matter of fact, Scott Walter, who's another fellow Minnesota TV personality and lecturer, he has a bunch of ancient alien artifacts that were dug up out of Mexico. And although you can't really date the rock, he can date the type of resin and things that they use to put these mosaics together that are very UFO and alien looking. And you should definitely have him on to showcase some of these pieces. They're crazy. But he's been able to date the glue substance that they used. Some of it's 10 to 12,000 years old. So to show these depictions of flying craft and beings that look like the Greys with the big bulbous head and the black eyes on pieces of antiquity that date back 10 to 12,000 years tells me we've not been alone for a long time.
Well, we're going to search the audience in this commercial break, and we'll be right back. Back in a moment, everybody. More with Dave Schrader. We're back. More with Dave Schrader. By the way, in that commercial break, Dave did a scan of the audience. There's 7 to 10 of them in here today, right now. 7 to 10 audience members. Right there. There's Tony. Well, you know Tony's one right there. There he is. A suspender-wearing alien. I love it. Love you, Dave.
It worked for Mork.
It worked for Mork. That's right.
Yep.
Where's your egg, Tony? There's perfect. Yeah, girlfriend named Mindy. Okay, let's talk about some of your stories. Tell the folks somewhat about your own house.
Yeah, so I lived up near the Eagan area, and we were renting a home. And
suburb of Minneapolis, for those not
suburb
watching.
Of Minneapolis. Yeah. And we were renting this place. We had a lot of weird experiences going on, and a big family, so we have kids spread throughout the house. And our little guy was in this room. He didn't want to sleep in there because of the man that kept leaning out of the closet. And then he would hear laughter under his bed. So it unnerved him. Of course, being a paranormal investigator, I take what he's saying seriously. So we let him move down in the basement with his other 2 big brothers. And I took that over as my radio station studio, right? And I was doing my shows from there. And we had moved. I bought a house a block and a half away, moved into the house. Everything but my studio has been moved out. And I get done with my show, 2 o'clock at night in the morning, and I go, all right, thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. I hang up my headset, turn off my mic, and all of a sudden I hear the front door open and shut, and somebody starts walking around. So I text my wife. I said, did you come over to the old house? She's like, no, it's 2 o'clock. I'm in bed. And I go, well, where are the kids? Well, they're all sleeping. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, oh, no. So I duck in the closet and I call 911. And because the closet's where you need to be if somebody breaks into your home. That's my thoughts.
I learned that in Halloween, in part 1, yeah.
Yeah, so the cops show up. They come into the house. They scan the entire place. They come knock on the door. And I jump out of the closet quickly so I could maintain some civility, right? And they're like, what happened? And I told them, I said, it sounded like somebody's coming in. I figured they saw us moving over the last couple of weeks. Maybe they came in to see if they could get anything. And they're like, Mr. Schrader, all the doors and windows are closed from the inside. And everything's locked. So I think you're okay. And all of a sudden, we start hearing.
With the cops there.
Right. And they both put their hands up at me. Their eyes get huge. And they go, we'll be right back. And out come the guns. And they go back out in the house, and I get back in the closet and duck. This is the moneymaker. I can't take. Why is that so funny?
You can't, yeah.
Anyway, they come back up like a few minutes later, and they're like, well, I think we should just all leave together. Let's just all go. And I'm like, well, what'd you find? And they're like, we didn't find anything. I said, but you said all the doors and windows were locked, and we heard the footsteps. They're like, yeah, and we heard them while we were standing in the kitchen. They were walking around us.
No.
So let's just go. And I'm like, let's just go. And he goes, you can't shoot what you can't see. Let's go. So we left. So that was the last night in my haunted house in Eagan.
And if you're the new owners of that house, yeah. Okay. Before we go, but maybe some people are thinking this. Do you think because you do this a lot and that you are connected, do you think the spirits are just more apt to connect with you? Because you're more open to it?
Yeah, I've had experiences my entire life. I've been really centered on investigating and trying to make connections for the last 20 years. So I think when you resonate that way and you put yourself out there, and I do it in a place of love and empathy for the spirit realm. I try not to walk in a place of fear unless
you're in a closet in Eagan. Yeah.
That's it. So I do believe that's what helps bring me better connection with the spirit realm.
Get this book, everybody. Give it up for Dave Schrader. To order a copy, it's called Theater of the Mind. Head to Dave's website, darknessradio.com. Follow Dave on social, too, and listen to his shows. Give it up one more time for Dave Schrader. My latest Disney adventure that features one lost item. When we come back. Back in a moment. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, my friend. Have a good one. See you soon.
Thank you, buddy.